First case, a Mr. Jaleel Smith Riley, 23, had previously admitted to the crimes of aggravated murder and attempted murder. He was arrested in November 2015 following a thorough 2-year investigation conducted by multiple local agencies. The death penalty was excluded as a possible punishment as per the terms of the plea deal. Family members of both Portia Brooks and Aaron Martin, who survived after being shot in the head, filled Judge Charles Kubicki's courtroom on Monday in Hamilton County Common Pleas Court, expecting a sentencing hearing. In an interview, Norwood Police Lieutenant Tom Fallon stated that Smith Riley has not only pleaded guilty, but also confessed to the crime. Fallon expressed sympathy for the families involved, acknowledging that it has been a lengthy process to reach this stage. The robbery, which occurred on November 16, 2013, involved Smith Riley and 2 other individuals, according to officials. Court documents reveal that Smith Riley approached a parked car occupied by Portia Brooks and Martin, knocking on the window with a handgun. He then forced Martin out of the car, searched his pockets, and proceeded to shoot him. Smith Riley subsequently leaned into the car and fired 2 shots at Brooks, who tragically passed away 3 days later. Although Smith Riley initially pleaded guilty on August 11, he later expressed a desire to withdraw the plea. Smith Riley's attorneys, Will Welsh and Scott Rubenstein, confirmed his intentions in court, despite their advice to the contrary. Martin, who bears visible scars on his face, was present in the courtroom on Monday. Sharon Brooks, speaking on behalf of both families, expressed their patience and trust in the prosecutors and judge to handle the situation. Officials have identified 2 other individuals as potential suspects in the crime. One of them, Randall Byrd III, was fatally shot in September 2015 near Muskegon, Michigan. The second suspect, 23-year-old Josiah Faust, is currently in custody in Michigan and is facing murder charges related to Byrd's death. Court records indicate that after Smith Riley shot Brooks and Martin, he passed the gun to Faust. However, Faust has not been formally charged in connection with the incident. Nearly 3 years following the shooting of the couple in Norwood, the perpetrator was sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole. Portia Brooks and her boyfriend, Aaron Martin, were victims of an attempted robbery on Carthage Avenue in November 2013. While Brooks succumbed to her injuries after a few days, Martin survived but suffered severe, lasting health issues. Jaleel Smith Riley confessed to the crime approximately 2 years later. Despite some legal complications that postponed his sentencing, Smith Riley was eventually convicted by Hamilton County Common Pleas Judge Charles Kubicki. Prior to the sentencing, the judge rejected Smith Riley's request to change his plea. During the court proceedings, Brooks' family shared the impact of her loss. Sharon Brooks, Portia's mother, described her daughter as a vibrant, animal-loving 20-year-old. She expressed the emotional toll of the tragedy, stating, "He not only killed her, but he killed me, mentally, emotionally." Tia Marie Brooks, Portia's sister, urged the judge to impose a life sentence without parole, emphasizing the enduring pain of living without her sister. Martin's family reminisced about the couple's happiness before the shooting, highlighting their youth, love, and joy together. Martin sustained lasting injuries when Smith Riley shot him in the head, resulting in permanent damage. Although he remained silent during the hearing on Wednesday, he later expressed his aspirations of becoming a firefighter, which unfortunately cannot be realized anymore. Martin acknowledged, "While I can still achieve certain things, I must adapt my goals to align with my current condition." Upon Kubicki's ruling of a life sentence without the possibility of parole for Smith Riley, he collapsed within the courtroom. The sheriff's deputies promptly assisted him back onto his feet, because he wasn't seriously or fatally attacked like his victims were. My take on this: Smith Riley got exactly what he deserved. He didn't appear so tough in the courtroom, begging like a little girl, when he was about to receive his
Then
sentence.
Judge Kubicki
If it were
sentenced
up to me, he would receive bread and water every day as a meal with proper nutrients to keep him healthy and alive. Feel free to comment below and tell me if my sentencing would be too harsh. Next up, Esteban Carpio, an American prison inmate, is currently serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole for the murder of Detective Sergeant James Allen. The tragic incident took place in 2005 during an interrogation at a police station in Rhode Island, shortly after Carpio had attacked an 84-year-old woman with a knife. Born on July 30, 1978, in Boston, Massachusetts, Esteban Carpio is the son of Yvonne Carpio, a former teacher at Hennigan Elementary School in Jamaica Plain. Prior to his incarceration for the first-degree murder of Detective Sergeant James Allen, Carpio worked as a barber. In 2005, he was in a relationship with Samine Finn, with whom he shares a daughter. Samine Finn has a history as a former hustler. During the interrogation regarding the stabbing of Madeline Gatta, Esteban Carpio engaged in a struggle with Detective James Allen, resulting in Carpio seizing Allen's gun and fatally shooting the officer twice in the chest. Following the tragic event, Carpio attempted to escape by jumping out of a third-floor window, but was apprehended by law enforcement 45 minutes later. Detective Allen was a married man and a father of 2 daughters at the time of his death. On June 27, in 2006, Carpio was convicted of the murder of Detective Sergeant James L. Allen and the stabbing of Madeline Gatta. The jury in Esteban's murder trial rejected his plea of insanity, and he was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole on October 10, 2006.
Every day, I face the facts of what I did and what happened.
He was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Additionally, he received a 20-year sentence for the assault on Madeline Gatta. Prior to the shooting, Carpio had undergone a psychiatric evaluation at Faulkner Hospital in Boston. Psychiatrists at the hospital attributed his condition to stress and substance abuse. In 2017, Carpio appealed to a federal judge, claiming that he was wrongfully convicted by the jury. He argued that he was not criminally responsible at the time of the crime due to mental illness. However, his appeal was rejected. Esteban Carpio is currently serving his life sentence at McDougall Walker Correctional Institution, a maximum security prison located in Suffield, Connecticut. During his arraignment hearing, the well-known inmate was required to wear a protective face shield to prevent any spitting incidents towards the police officers. The shield also served the purpose of safeguarding others from potential exposure to blood and other bodily fluids. Despite this, his relatives suspected that the shield was utilized to conceal injuries inflicted on Carpio as a form of retaliation by the law enforcement officials. Esteban Stephen Carpio displayed visible signs of bruising and swelling on his face, with redness evident on his eyes, cheeks, forehead, and cranial area. Detective Chief Dean M. Esserman stated that Carpio's injuries were supposedly sustained during a fall from the 3rd floor of a building and a subsequent altercation with the police. Testifying in court, Christopher Zarella from Rhode Island State Police, a detective involved in the arrest, admitted to striking Carpio in the face 3 times. While unverified, there are reports suggesting that he confessed to causing fractures in Carpio's facial bones. Esteban's family emotionally accused the police of using excessive force. However, an FBI inquiry determined that his injuries were a result of crashing through a window and the necessary use of force by the police during his apprehension. The investigation verified that the police did not employ undue force in handling Carpio. My take on this? Firstly, Ms. Carpio would have been held in contempt and taken away immediately, where I would have given her max jail time, sending a message to others. If you act out in my courtroom, don't expect a slap on the wrist. For Stephen Carpio, he would have received life in prison. His drug problem, along with his so-called stress, is not a good enough excuse for attacking and fatally wounding people willy-nilly. Since he is stressed out, I would give him plenty of work to do in prison under the hot sun, to the point to where he would wish he were not stressed about getting exhausted for his next workday. And just so there isn't any confusion, I would have had a huge sign in the courtroom saying, "Since Stephen Carpio has no respect for people and wishes to spit like an animal, much like an alpaca, he has to wear a mask until he is better trained." Feel free to comment down below and tell me if you think my comments on this case are too harsh or irresponsible. If you disagree with me, your comments will not be deleted. I promise. Just try to avoid curse words on all of your comments about any case. Thank you. Finally, a woman and her firearm instructor have been sentenced to life imprisonment for their failed attempt to shoot and kill the woman's estranged husband. The incident took place on a dark dirt road in Carlsbad. Diana Lovejoy, who is now the ex-wife of the victim, Greg Mulvihill, has been sentenced to 26 years to life in prison. Weldon McDavid, the gun instructor, has been sentenced to 50 years to life. Despite the sentencing, both individuals maintain their innocence. Lovejoy, 45, expressed her belief that the truth will eventually be revealed, stating, "I still have faith that the truth will come out. I'm not capable of doing these things." McDavid also denied any intention to shoot Mulvihill, claiming, "I did not intend to shoot Mulvihill. There was no intent to kill." Both Lovejoy and McDavid were found guilty on November 13 of conspiracy to commit murder and attempted murder. During the trial, prosecutor Jody Breton informed the jury that Mulvihill received a call just before 11 p.m. on September 1, 2016, from an individual claiming to be a private investigator. The caller allegedly had information regarding Mulvihill's estranged wife. Mulvihill was instructed to go to a dirt road to collect a package containing materials related to Lovejoy. Mulvihill and his co-worker, Jason Kovach, drove to the designated area and used a flashlight to search for the package, which was supposedly taped to a power pole. Kovach testified that they observed movement in the bushes and noticed a person lying down with a rifle pointed at them. Shots were fired, and both Kovach and a wounded Mulvihill fled the scene. Breton stated that Mulvihill, aged 45, was attempting to rebuild his life following Lovejoy's accusations of molesting their young son and sexually assaulting her. The couple had been separated since July 2014 and were in the final stages of finalizing their divorce. The Carlsbad police concluded that the phone used to contact Mulvihill was bought by Lovejoy, and the feces discovered in the bushes at the shooting scene were linked to McDavid, as per the prosecutor. During the investigation, authorities discovered numerous firearms and a silencer in McDavid's garage, along with a blast bag containing 7 spent shell casings, as Breton informed the jury. McDavid's lawyer, Ricky Crawford, mentioned that his client, a trained marksman and former Marine, only discharged his rifle after hearing someone shout, "I have a gun." Crawford informed the jury that if McDavid had intended to kill someone, he would have done so. McDavid reiterated this sentiment during the sentencing hearing on Wednesday, stating, "If I had planned to kill Mulvihill, he would not be alive. My only wish is that this will be corrected during the appeal process." Brad Patton, Lovejoy's attorney, explained that his client had obtained a temporary restraining order against Mulvihill because she alleged that he was mistreating her and their son.
Here's my take on this. This woman, Mrs. Lovejoy, is obviously a person who thinks a square peg fits perfectly in a round hole.
Lovejoy should be sentenced for 26 years just being that dumb. I mean, come on. Buying a traceable phone. Also, if her ex was truly molesting her son, why didn't she just simply secretly film him? She seemed to be able to put a lot of effort in trying to fatally eliminate him. By the way, she only needed one weapon for McDavid, the so-called boyfriend, to go along with her plan. And that weapon is right there between her legs at all times. Well, that's it for this episode. I want to thank you all so much for watching my very first episode, and I hope you all enjoyed the content. Feel free to comment down below and tell me if you think my comments on this case are too harsh or irresponsible, and what your verdicts would be for these convicts. If you disagree with me, your comments will not be deleted. I promise. Just try to avoid curse words on all of your comments about any case and try keeping them civil. Until next time, goodbye, and I hope you all have a good day.